Evening. One person shot dead, two others in critical condition following a violent clash between two factions in the Asokore Mampong municipality of the Shanti region. We will be live on the ground for the latest regarding this unfortunate development. Also coming up, an easy calm at Navio in the Kasena-Nankana West District of the Upper East region as scores of women and children reportedly flee over renewed violence. And later in the bulletin, government has announced plans to recruit 7,000 teachers as part of efforts to strengthen the education sector and address staffing gaps in schools, particularly in underserved communities. The Education Minister has been speaking on this and will bring you his thoughts in a moment. Before that, though, let's bring you the news summaries.
Hi, Martin. Thank you very much. Now, the Ghana Education Service, GES, has officially ordered the suspension of academic activities at the Accra Newtown Experimental DA School following a tragic building collapse nearby that claimed 3 lives and left 20 others injured. The Director General of the GES, Professor N.S. Kofi Davis, announced the move after receiving a security briefing at the site. He emphasized that the safety of students is the absolute priority and that no one should return to the premises until all structures have been fully verified as structurally sound. Ghana has taken a significant step toward improving the well-being of mothers and families with the launch of its first ever maternal mental health policy. This is a landmark initiative aimed at addressing the often overlooked psychological challenges faced by women during pregnancy and after childbirth. Ghana's inflation rate continued its downward trend in March 2026, falling to 3.2%. That's according to the latest data released by the Ghana Statistical Service. This marks a slight decline from 3.3% recorded in February 2026 and a dramatic drop from 22.4% in March, representing a sharp 19.2 percentage point decrease year on year. Now, to Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC, is set to summon 2 public officials over the payment of 8.2 million Ghana cedis in mobilization funds for a sanitization project that was never executed. The officials, Bright Odro-Kwarteng and Theophilus Okain, are linked to payments made under the Toilet for All project, which was initiated in 2019 by the former Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. And all these are on our website, 3news.com. Martin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Christabel. Success, Trevor, for that news summary. Let's settle for the details now. We're starting from the Ashanti region, where one person is reported dead with 2 others injured following a violent clash between the 2 feuding parties over a land parcel. The incident happened on Wednesday morning at Nyalewa in the Asokore Mampong municipality. One party who reportedly purchased the land was confronted by another man who claimed rightful ownership, leading to a gunshot attack that resulted in 1 death and 2 others in critical condition. Police swiftly intervened to restore calm and transported the injured victims to the Menchia Government Hospital for urgent medical attention, while the suspect has since been arrested and is assisting with ongoing investigations. Let's cross over now and speak to William Evans Inkuma, correspondent who's following this story for us. William, thank you for your time. First of all, can you paint a picture for us what the current situation is?
Well, so it's relatively calm at Nyalewa. At the moment, we understand that it's an issue that you will better situate it as a protracted one, only to escalate this morning. So it is just a situation between few people. It's not something that you can say has some level of getting a lot of people involved. So it is something that the police have been able to contain. Only that we are yet to identify the identities of the victims. I'm talking about the one who has passed on, and of course the 2 who are critically injured and are receiving treatment at the Menchia Government Hospital. As at this afternoon, security there was still tight. We understand that the security has to be beefed up to avert any reprisal. So that is what we have taken. But the police is yet to issue a statement on that. So information has been one way, that is eyewitnesses who have been sharing some pieces of it, but generally it has been a scanty one.
Yeah, so Evans, what's the current condition of the two victims who were critically injured? We are told that they've been rushed to the hospital. How critical is their injury?
So per my last check, they are still responding to simple command, though they are not out of wounds yet. But like I said, police visibility is very heavy around the Mensah Government Hospital because I understand that they are trying to quell any possible reprisals, because I understand the one who died allegedly was shot by the two that they suspect to have been involved in that particular shooting incident. So they are also being under protection just to avert or quell any possible reprisal. That is what we are picking now.
So, for those who are unaware of what the situation is, give us a bit of a backstory. We're told it's about a land issue.
Absolutely. So we understand that it's a parcel of land that these student parties have been contesting. It has to do with the rightful owner. But like I said, information is pretty scanty. Apart from what we know to be a land that is in contention, any other information has not been forthcoming. That is why we are actually relying on police to issue a statement so we'll be able to understand the root cause of it. But from an eyewitness account, the incident happened as a result of a land dispute.
Land dispute. All right. William Evans Inkum, thank you for that report, and definitely do keep an eye on that for us. In subsequent bulletins, we'll be coming back to you for an update. William Evans Inkum is our Northern Sector Bureau Chief, updating us on that unfortunate development that happened earlier today, where one person has been shot dead. Two others are receiving treatment after being injured in the violent clashes that broke out between two feuding factions over a land or a parcel of land. So we will update you. Like our reporter said, the police have taken over the case. Those who are receiving treatment at the hospital have security around the place, and the site of the incident as well has been taken over by the police as investigations have commenced. We'll update you subsequently when we do get further updates on this. Well, staying on issues of violence, and this time around crossing over to the Upper East region, where we are told that there is uneasy calm as dozens of women and children have fled Navio in the Kasina-Nankana West District of the Upper East region and taken refuge at the Paga Chief's Palace after some houses were reportedly burnt following renewed tensions in the age-long chieftaincy dispute. Many shops are reportedly closed, and as it stands, we are told that people are running for shelter. Some places have also been abandoned because they fear that these attacks could escalate and affect where residents usually would have been staying. People are also afraid that their shops could be burned, for which reason they've closed it down and sought refuge at the house of the chief. For more, let's speak now to our correspondent, Rabiu Tanko, who has joined us for a quick update. Rabiu, thank you for your time. So you say relative calm has returned. Give us an idea what that relative calm is. Can you see people still go about their daily activities?
Yes, thank you very much. There's total peace in the Navio traditional area, especially within the Navio community after the disturbances. I can report that the civil services, mainly the police, have taken control of the area, and including some other state services to dissect. That is the Kasina-Nankana East District dissect. So, as I speak, the place is calm. Initially, people try to, relocate from the Navio community to Paga, which is not far from each other. Paga is the capital of the Kasina-Nankana, West. So what happened is that when the incident happened, most of them tried to move upwards to Paga Township to shelter. But as I speak to you, most of them have returned, and the reports of shops being closed is not accurate because where the incident happened, it's a rural area. There's no shops like that whereby it will be closed, unless of course it's in the Paga Township, which I don't think it has extended to the Paga Township because of the distance. But the information also gathered from videos and pictures indicates that the Navio Chief Palace was started with stools, resulting to the show of properties.
Right. Our viewers, those who are listening to us can also follow the conversation. If you go to Facebook where we are streaming Hot Edition, or even on YouTube, you can get to see what the situation is in Navio. We have videos of some of the women and children who are currently taking refuge at the palace of the chief, and then also the houses that have been abandoned, stalls that have been closed. You can see it if you're following us on Facebook, and you can watch this stream there as well. But Rabiu, you indicated that this current clash or confrontation is as a result of a chieftaincy dispute. Give us briefly what this a history of this chieftaincy dispute.
Yes, I can say, though I cannot confirm whether it's a chieftaincy dispute, because what I gathered on the ground is that the incident happened when some group of people went to the mosque praying, and then an old man was assaulted, which resulted to and then later his children tried to intervene. To revenge, and then it resulted in this incident. But the place has a history of chieftaincy that I know that is pending in court, and then at the regional House of Chiefs that I can see. But from what has happened, I may not be able to connect it with the chieftaincy district, because from what I've gathered from the ground indicates that the incident happened at the mosque where the confusion started.
Right. So, Rabi, finally, tell us what the police have been able to do so far. We are told that they have come into the community to try and restore calm. Give us an idea how they are undertaking this operation.
Yes, right from entering to Navio through Paga from the assembly. There are a lot of police checkpoints there, and then within the Navio township, which includes the palace and then the mosque where the incident happened, there are a lot of security services moving around to make sure things are okay. And then other, if they suspect any, motorbike or vehicle, they stop to check. So these are what the measures that the police and security are taking place. They have employed the as I speak.
All right, thank you very much, Rabiu Tanko, who is our correspondent following this story for us. He reporting from the Upper East region, where we are told that dozens of women and their children have fled Navio in the Kasena-Nankana West district and have taken refuge in the palace of the Paga chief. And from the report, our correspondent just gave us, some of the residents are gradually returning to the town, although police have taken over the place to ensure that the issue does not get out of hand. Relative calm is restored, and then also investigations can commence. But the chief of the area has been speaking to journalists, or at least giving an account of what exactly transpired. Let's listen to the chief, who has also given us an assurance that they would ensure that peace returns to the area.
Hello. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon.
Right, I will do well to bring you the full complement of what that conversation is.
Around, I travel. When I was approaching Bolga and had a call that some people came as a mob attacking my palace, throwing stones and other things. So I arrived in the morning when I assembled the whole community and asked them what is happening. Very lucky that the DISEC also intervened, and they heard the side of our story. That some people even went and burned some houses, not knowing that it started on Friday. Some people went to the mosque, and there's misunderstanding there, and they fought, leading to that confusion. One boy went and held one old man, threatened to beat him, and his also son came and then that they allowed that boy to beat their father. So that's where everything started. So it escalated to some mob even came to attack my palace whilst I'm not around. So I think the police are inside, they are investigating it. And then it's not true that as a chief to lead people to go and to burn houses. For what? We are the custodian of the land. We know the laws. We can never take the laws into our hands and do such things. But no matter how things are coming out, people will say what is not true. So actually, I'm not aware of it, and then I will never do that. The law even won't allow me to do that. So please, the investigation is going on. They will see those who went and did it. In my absence, even my community, they didn't even know about my travel. When they were calling me, they are not getting me. Unless when I'm approaching Bolga, it was dawn around 3 o'clock, dawn. So I arrived around 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's the side of story of myself. It's not true. I'm not disturbing anybody in the community. Some people are just rather disturbing us.
Right, so you heard the voice of the chief of Navio, who has been given an account of what exactly transpired and confirming the fact that, yes, some violence broke out in the community, but relative calm has returned, and the police have also, taken over the area to ensure that there aren't any reprisals. But we will keep tabs on this particular story and update you subsequently when we do get updates on it. Meanwhile, the district chief executive for the Kasina Nankana district, that is Stephen Akurugo Aiki, had agreed to speak to us, but as we speak, he says he's in an emergency meeting following the development of the clashes, so he will update us subsequently when he is able to get further information or is out of that meeting. You're listening to 3FM 92.7. Stay with us. When we return, we'll be taking you to the House of Parliament, where a lot of issues are coming up at the Public Accounts Committee sitting. Also, government is announcing that some 7,000 teachers will be employed across the country. This has been confirmed by Education Minister. Details of all of these and more right after this. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. We are turning our attention to education now, and government has announced plans to recruit some 7,000 teachers across Ghana as part of efforts to strengthen the education sector and address staffing gaps in schools, particularly in underserved communities. The announcement was made by the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, during a media briefing earlier today, where he outlined key details of the upcoming recruitment exercise. According to the minister, the application process will officially commence on the 10th of April 2026, when the recruitment portal will be opened to eligible applicants. This comes on the back of recent agitations by unemployed teachers over delays in postings and limited recruitment opportunities. Let's listen to the minister when he spoke on this development.
There has been strong calls for government to provide employment opportunities for recruitment of teachers across the country, in particular to serve the deprived and underserved areas in the provision of education across the country. Education remains a key priority of President Mahamat's reset agenda. Government intends to invest heavily in education, in its infrastructure, and in the provision of learning resources and learning materials to improve the delivery of our education system. Government is also mindful of the growing unemployment in the country and the growing demands of young people for employment opportunities. I'm also well aware that in the last couple of months, a number of students have graduated from our colleges of education and other institutions of higher learning that specializes in the development of teachers. I am happy to note and announce that the Ministry of Education has received clearance and approval from the Ministry of Finance for the recruitment of teachers across the country. We will be recruiting at least 7,000 teachers across the country. We want the process to be open, transparent, and competitive. Therefore, graduates from the 2023, 2024, 2025 cohort may apply for placement to be teachers across the country. Priority will be given to those who are ready and willing to serve in those deprived and served areas like Sanguli in the northern region or Dambai in the Oti region and other areas that we have noted.
And that is the Honorable Haruna Idris, who is the Minister in charge of education. He also disclosed that financial clearance has been granted for the recruitment of some 1,200 university lecturers as well.
There are significant gaps and deficits in the availability of teachers. I am also happy to announce that many of our institutions of higher learning, the universities, have not had the opportunity to replace staff, including members of faculty. And therefore, we will, part of the approval, as I note, from the Honorable Minister for Finance, we would allow across all the tertiary institutions, public, some limited recruitment to beef up their faculties and to renew their faculty as we continue to work. My view is that it should be possible to have what we call automatic replacement, that if a lecturer was exiting, it should be possible because provision have been made for the compensation and other facilities of the person determined to be replaced. But that we are still discussing with the Ministry of Finance, and as and when we are ready, we would let you know. So across the tertiary institutions, including our public universities, whether it's University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast, or Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, or it's UHAS, we would allow, as the approval reflects, some recruitment of 1,200 faculty members, and that will be distributed in a communication that will be issued to them by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. In respect of the 7,000 teachers, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, who is ably represented here by his two deputies, Professor Small and Isaku, you are accordingly directed that the GS application portal be made open from Friday, the 10th of April, 2026. The portal should be open, competitive, transparent process, but with emphasis on those willing to go where government wants them to go.
So that is the Minister in charge of Education, Haruna Idrisu. I have been joined on the phone lines by two very well-vexed individuals when it comes to Ghana's education. First, would want to engage the thoughts of the Vice President of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, PRETAG, Asokore Awule. Sir, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and good evening to all your listeners.
Right. We also do have the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, Dr. Peter Pateyanti, Executive Director for the Institute of Education Studies, IFS. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Martin.
Right. I'll start with Asokore Awule. First of all, how does this news come to you? The Minister confirmed that there have been, well, maybe agitations will be a stretch, but there have been calls for a revamp of the teaching staff across the country. Government has now confirmed that 7,000 individuals will be recruited to fill this vacuum. What are your initial thoughts on it?
Thank you very much. I am not so much convinced, or I might need further explanation as to the 7,000 that will be recruited. Now, he talks about cohorts from 2023 to 2025, even when it comes to those from the colleges of education. We know that most graduates from colleges of education, that is all, they are all automatically placed or posted into basic schools. And then from 2024, we've not had a single individual who have graduated from colleges of education being posted to any basic school. And if we have two cohorts, those who completed the 2024 national service and that of 2025, they are more than 30,000 and they are still waiting. So we need further explanation from the minister so that we will know whether the 7,000 is supposed to be for those who went to the universities and other colleges and they've come out as graduates and they also did education, or it is for those who have gone to colleges of education and they've graduated. So far, we have 3 cohorts waiting. Now, the 7,000 again is very, very much insufficient when it comes to especially the basic level, and even if we should add the senior high school level, that is when it comes to the pre-tertiary. I don't think 7,000 is enough. We need over 50,000 teachers to fill vacancies. Because you go to a district, and I can tell you there's one particular district in Volta region that needs over 200 teachers, one district alone. Because teachers have gone on pension, they've not had any other teachers replacing them. You can go around and ask about these numbers. So we will need further explanation from the minister to tell us where specifically the 7,000 teachers that will apply will be posted to. and then the other vacancies that are also there and how they are going to handle it, and then the 3 cohorts that have graduated from the colleges of education, where they are going to place them. I think we will need further explanations on this.
Certainly. Right. Let me bring in Dr. Ante now. Doc, your initial reactions as well. I mean, you study right from the very basic to even tertiary level. Across the spectrum, government is announcing that 7,000 teachers, well, maybe like the earlier resource person indicated, we are unable to tell whether it's pre-tertiary, tertiary, or just secondary and basic. But what are your thoughts on the fact that at least some recruitment is about to start?
Well, I think that that is a good initiative from the Ministry of Education. We have been talking about this for some time, that we need some level of teacher recruitment in the system. We should not also forget that there are some who are already on the field that have not been paid yet, and that is also an issue that they would have to really deal with. So getting teachers to the classroom is something that is very important. The 7,000, whether it's adequate or not, would depend on the data available. I think that the ministry might have looked at the data that they have and have come to this number. As to which caliber of teachers they are going to recruit, I think that the system will be open, then we would know which caliber of teachers they are recruiting. Or possibly, for transparency's sake, they can indicate the caliber of teachers that they need, who need to apply, so that the expectations could be managed. But getting teachers to the field to help with the delivery of education is something that we need to applaud the ministry for, although the number might not be what people are expecting. But I think that we should start from somewhere, and this is a good place to start.
And Doc, still on you though. So, like you indicated, we are unable to tell at the moment the adequacy of the 7,000 and then the 1,200. He also said who are going specifically into the universities, but. Is it your understanding that the colleges of education train teachers who would fit into basic and tertiary and pre-basic as well? Is it like an institution that teaches or produces teachers that can teach across the education spectrum?
Yes, I think that is what the idea is. The colleges of education, by their current, system, that is they giving out the bachelor's degree, implies that these are tertiary education students. I think there needs to be clarity on the government's position on this automatic posting thing. I think it's creating a lot of confusion among the trainee teachers that are they still going to be automatically posted? I listened to the earlier speaker who also made mention of that there are cohorts that are already in the house and there are cohorts that have not been posted at all. So that position, you see, that policy position needs to be clearly articulated. Is government saying that they are no more dealing with the automatic posting thing, and that vacancies are going to be open based on need assessments that have been done, so that when people apply, their documents are assessed and posted where they are needed. If that is the policy position, that should be communicated for the teachers to know, and then they will also know how to also go about their things. But once the idea has always been that if you go to a training college, you are automatically posted, but if you go to the universities, do education at the university level, you need to go out and look for a school to teach. That inconsistency at this level in terms of policy need to be cleared by the ministry, and I think we should be good by that.
Right. And Mr. Ikwe, you certainly you are already in the system, as in you are a provider of education. You raised the concern of the adequacy of the teachers. What is, in your estimation, is the number? So for pre-tertiary, where you actually teach, what numbers are we looking at, and why do you say the 7,000 would not be adequate?
Definitely, the 7,000 will not be adequate, although I cannot give you specifically the number. But for 2 years, there have not been any recruitment of teachers. I think those who went out for a study leave were recently posted, but for 2 years. And the issue about the colleges of education, they are mainly into degree in basic education. So they are specifically for at the basic level, that is primary and junior high schools.
Okay.
And then remember, although they are doing degree, that is why policies must be outlined for us to really know. This government, when they were coming to power, they said teachers from colleges of education will be automatically posted. But definitely, that is not what we are hearing now. And if if they are going to change their stance on that one, should we even continue to still get this number of people every year, over 15,000, to colleges of education, pay them allowances, feed them, and then at the end of the day, we say, go and look for your own job. So these things must be outlined. The ministry should come out and be specific on these issues about teachers from colleges of education, those from other universities.
But
on those ones?
Sorry for coming in, but what has the standard been? And is this new announcement also giving an impression of a new recruitment process?
That is what it is like. There's a new recruitment process because he made mention of those from colleges of education and those from other universities, and they should all apply when the portal is open. So we need further explanation. They should come out and tell us, we said we would do this. Now we are not going to do it again. Now from colleges, if you come out from the College of Education, you ought to go and apply. If you are taking, fine. If you are not taking, you go around and look for your own job. So that we will know what is into it. So that at the end of the day, we can also sit down as stakeholders and then say that if one will go to the College of Education and at the end of the day, it will not be an automatic posting. Why are we feeding the person? Why are we paying the person allowance? And at the end of the day, it will not be directly beneficial to the educational system. So all these things, we have to sit down and analyze them. So I'm pleading on the ministry to come out and say something about it. Our doors are open, definitely. If they invite us, we are ready, and then we will judge on this very matter.
Right. Thank you very much for your time and thoughts on this. We've been speaking to Adokwe Ayikwe Awule, who is the Vice President, Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana. Let me conclude with you, Dr. Peter Pateanti. Unfortunately, we've lost him as well. But then generally, you have an idea of what the issue is. It is that government has announced that about 7,000 new teachers will be recruited in the coming days, and he has given indications that some 1,200 lecturers will also be recruited into the public universities. What are your general thoughts on this? And it is on the back of the fact that in the last few years, I should say, there have been calls for a recruitment or an upgrade of teachers into our various institutions of education. And so this actually does come as good news. However, the numbers, according to one of our resource persons, is woefully inadequate, where they are looking at in excess of 30,000 teachers needed. So 7,000, it does not cut it at all. But like some would say, it is a gradual process, and then we will see how many teachers have also gone on retirement, how many are needed in specific regions, districts, and then all of that can then inform our conversation on the teacher recruitment exercise. Also, is this an entirely new way of getting teachers into our public educational institutions, or this has been the norm over the years? Your thoughts are also very welcome on Facebook and on YouTube, where we are streaming Hot Edition, which is live from our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. Stay with us. We'll be taking you to Parliament right after this.
Ghana, Africa, and worldwide.
You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. We are also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So your comments are very welcome as we discuss issues of national importance. Let's now take you to Parliament. And you would recall that the last few days, the Public Accounts Committee has been sitting on a number of reviews of the Auditor General's document, which has raised a lot of questions. Over the last days of the sitting, some government institutions have had to come and answer. Some have committed to repaying some amounts of monies that, its whereabouts are unknown. And then also a lot of questions are being raised as to whether due diligence is done before some of these monies are expended. Let's speak to Christian Yale, who is our parliamentary correspondent. He's joined us for an update of today's development. Christian, thank you for your time. I'm sure sitting probably has wrapped up or is about wrapping up, but give us an idea how today has been.
Yes, sitting has wrapped up today. The very last agency to appear before the committee was the District Assembly Common Fund. The administrator was there together with other officials, the finance officials and other members from that. The major thing from theirs, which was inconclusive, was that in the 8th Parliament, which ended in December 2024, a contract was signed between governments represented by the Health Ministry with a contractor to build a parliamentary service hospital for Parliament staff as well as members of Parliament. Now, payment of 20 million cedis was made on 31st December 2024 for just mobilization works. And even that, Martin, is a part payment because for the 15% mobilization work, it cost about 108 million cedis and 20 million out of that was paid. Martin, till date, the mobilization work has not started on the hospital project. We understand from the contractor that they were to be given a land portion around the Parliament area, which wasn't given them. Now, they were promised to be given a new site. To date, they have not received that new site. And so, after that 20 million cedis was paid on 31st December 2024, nothing has been done even to account for that 20 million cedis. Unfortunately, the former health minister, Bernard Okoboy, as well as the former administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund, Martin Asiedu-Dartey, both were not available at the time, today, to answer to questions as to how all of this happened, as well as the former finance director at the District Assembly's Common Fund. And so the directive from the Public Accounts Committee has been that those officials, the three of them, the former health minister as well as the former administrator of the DACF and the finance director, be made to appear before the committee to provide further explanation. What it means is that if things are not coherent enough, then they could then be referred to the Attorney General, possibly for prosecution. But the latest information we have had, Martin, is that now it is Parliament of Ghana that is to provide a parcel of land to this contractor for the mobilization works to even start before other commitments would be made towards this hospital project. But of course, there are other issues that came earlier in the day concerning the livelihood empowerment against poverty, the LEAP program. The gender minister, Dr. Agnes Namomolate, indicates that there are reforms that are being undertaken by government to rate the system of, unqualified beneficiaries. And so for about 2 weeks, going into this quarter, there will be some delays for the disbursement of the LEAP funds, Martin, also we know that very early in the day, there was a local government ministry that appeared before the committee. A similar problem or infraction that came up was that, payments were made for some contractors to provide what they call the toilet for all project, which was to start in 2019. And also for that one as well, sums of money were paid for that, yet till date, the project was not executed. Again, those who were in charge of that were not before the committee because all the officials are new people who are just taking over office. And so there was that similar directive that those officials equally appear before the committee, Martin.
Right. Christian, thank you very much. And we just want our listeners to have an idea of what transpired, or at least some of the key issues that were discussed at the sitting today. Christian Yali is our parliamentary correspondent, updating us on the Public Accounts Committee sitting, which ended a few minutes ago. It's been ongoing for the last few days. And earlier today, there was the issue of some 20 million that was unaccounted for. This is how the conversation played out.
Agreement was reached to pay 15% mobilization of about 108 million, out of which 20 million cedis was paid. We have written to Sienna Services, and they have responded on the work that was done with the 20 million. There's an outstanding on that 15% mobilization of 88 million that still is due.
And this was to build a parliamentary service hospital. Which parliament was that?
This was contracted during the 8th parliament. The signatory to the contract on behalf of the government was Dr. Okoboy.
Who witnessed it?
The Chief Director, Alhaji Hafiz Adam.
Hey. So my question is, where is this parliamentary service hospital? Have they started the building? We've already paid 15% mobilization.
Mr. Chairman, it is my understanding from the letter received from Sienna Services that the money they received went into project design and technical planning, site assessments, consultancy services, arrangement of bonds and guarantees, and insurance. However, they also did...
And so you heard bits and pieces of the interactions that transpired on the floor of Parliament. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. In a moment, we'll bring you the latest in the world of business. Do stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also coming up tonight, Ghana's inflation hits historic low of 3.2% in March. We'll hear from government statistician Dr. Asiedu-Dartey. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Ghana's disinflation journey reached a significant milestone in March 2026, with the headline inflation rate falling to 3.2%, according to the latest Consumer Price Index data released by the Ghana Statistical Service. This figure marks the 15th consecutive month of declining inflation since January 2025, signaling a period of sustained macroeconomic stability that has defied earlier market volatility. Let's hear from government statistician Dr. Asiedu-Dartey.
This marks the 15th consecutive decline and the lowest level since the CPI rebasing in 2021, signaling strong and sustained stability. Month-on-month price increase was 0.1% between February and March 2026, showing that price pressures are easing in real time. Food inflation continues to ease, falling to 2.3% from the 2.4% recorded in February, with food prices actually declining by 0.3% between February and March 2026, evidence that key staples are stabilizing and in some cases becoming cheaper. Non-food inflation remains slightly higher at 3.9%, though easing from 4%, with prices still rising modestly by 0.3% between February and March 2026. This is indicating persistent but controlled pressure outside food.
And that was government statistician Dr. Asiedu-Dartey. The Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana says it expects a decline in fraud involving bank staff as nearly 10,000 industry personnel undergo mandatory ethics training. Ghana's banking sector recorded 16,733 fraud cases in 2024, with losses approaching 99 million cedis, highlighting growing concerns over the scale and sophistication of financial crime.
A report by the Bank of Ghana shows a 33% rise in staff involvement, with 365 employees implicated, underscoring increasing insider risk within financial institutions. Digital channels remain the biggest source of vulnerability, accounting for more than 15,000 cases, as regulators warn of weak internal controls across parts of the sector. At the second National Banking and Ethics Challenge, the Chief Executive Officer of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Ghana, Robert Jato, said the Institute's ethics programs are aimed at strengthening professional standards and reducing misconduct.
Part of our mandate, again, is make sure that the industry is safe, sound, and resilient. And we work together with Bank of Ghana, the Ethics and Internal Investigations Unit, to create an ethics certification program, which is an e-learning. It's compulsory for all banks and bankers. And so a number of banks took it very, very seriously. We had over 10,000 people who completed it.
He expressed confidence that the measures will translate into improved figures in the central bank's next fraud report.
If you look at the fraud reports of Bank of Ghana, you will see that there's quite some progress being made. We can make better progress, faster progress, of course. And so we expect that when all bankers take on and complete the ethics certification, which also touches on fraud, would expect that will translate into some of the better, if you like, improvement in the fraud report and trends that we are seeing. Ultimately, my view is that we'll have to continue. It's not a one-time event.
Now, the Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana, Moses Ifedayo-Adeoye, says increased airline activity between Ghana and Nigeria could lead to a reduction in airfares. Air travel within West Africa remains relatively expensive, often costing more than flights to destinations outside the continent.
About 5 airlines currently operate on the Ghana-Nigeria route, highlighting the growing importance of Accra as a key aviation hub in the sub-region. But despite this, ticket prices remain high, raising concerns among travelers and industry observers. The Nigerian High Commissioner, Moses Ifedayo-Adeoye, expressed optimism that increased competition would help drive down fares.
When there is competition, prices might likely come down. But when you look at what is happening globally now, especially the effect of Israel-US-Iran war, which has led to an increase in price of oil, in price of jet oil. So definitely, we might not immediately see the lowering of, flight costs. But at the long run, definitely, we expect that, especially on this corridor.
Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of ValueJet, Captain Omololu Majekudomi, is calling for stronger collaboration within Africa's aviation sector. He says the creation of an African Aviation Alliance would allow airlines to work more closely together, improve efficiency, and expand connectivity across the continent.
It's our time now to form our own African alliance. They didn't form it for us, so they can't take it from us. So we should just put it in mind that people are not so happy. I mean, you know the people I'm talking about. They're not very happy for African countries to start striving this much innovation, because at the end of the day, their planes will not be able to come here. We will be taking our own people, by our people, making our money for our people to their country and back.
And that report brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, for more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. And that brings us to the end of Hot Edition. Thanks for your company.